Not in the way of Clarkson, but they both kind of tap each other on the chest and play on.
That was good, kind of diffused the situation. I thought it had a chance to escalate, but both players were very cool.
We had the Bucks and Nets the other night when, guys were seeing red, namely P.J. Tucker and Kevin Durant.
Well, that's always going to be those two.
Kawhi Leonard back on the floor, drives deep off the window, too strong. It's loose in the lane, and Mitchell comes up with it.
Well, this score could be a lot worse, Kesty, the shots that the Clippers are missing.
Here's Mitchell off balance. First 2 points of the night on a floater, and Utah's only down 6.
It's hard for me to believe the way the game is being played. That was off his left foot, sideways to the rim, Donovan Mitchell.
Jackson pulls for 3 and hits again. How about Reggie Jackson? 12 points in the first half to match Paul George's 12. It's back to a 9-point game and a timeout.
It's Reggie Jackson and Joe Ingles having a 3-point contest. They've both been open for most of their threes. That's not good defense.
Jackson is 4 for 4 from deep. We got a timeout with 7:21 to go first half at Staples Center. Clippers 42, the Jazz 33. And you're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
I hired nuptial num-nums to cater my wedding, and it was a disaster. Everyone was raving about the food instead of my dress.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
They're like, oh, Veronica, the lamb chops. Did the lamb chops fly you out to Cancun?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
I will not be hiring them for my next wedding.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Why is it Dad always says, I don't want anything, every Father's Day? Because he's never received a Man Crate. With hundreds of gifts, mancrates.com has the gear, flavors, and activities millions of dads love, making finding the perfect gift for Dad almost as fun as giving it to him. Try the exotic jerky toolbox, a real toolbox stuffed with wild meats like elk, venison, and boar. Or go for the whiskey appreciation crate, a personalized decanter, personalized glasses, drinking accessories, and snacks. Most Man Crates are shipped in their own awesome container, a wooden crate and crowbar, or an ammo can, or a gift card in a concrete block, making unwrapping as awesome as the gift. Personalization is free, and Man Crates comes with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, or your money back. Now through June 20th, get 20% off site-wide when you spend $149 or more at mancrates.com/streaming. Yep, 20% off at mancrates.com/streaming. mancrates.com/streaming.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven. It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you can pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Eastern, followed by Greeny with Mike Greenberg until noon on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. And for Ty Lue and the Clippers, one different offensive weapon he was looking to show up tonight in Game 3 is Reggie Jackson.
He understands that the starting role is his, but he stayed us all year long. Him and Nick Batum have been phenomenal. But in these playoffs, I tell you, he's not afraid of the moment. He loves the big moment, the big stage, and hopefully he can carry over to Game 3.
Well, tonight it has tied because Reggie's 4 for 4 casting in PJ, and the Clippers have their largest lead of the night at 9.
How about this, Kev and PJ? Reggie Jackson, those 4 for 4, he's now 11 for 17 from 3 in the series.
What bothers Quinn Snyder more than the 12 points is how open 3 of the 4 was all by himself. I mean, you got a guy that Ty's quote to us was he single-handedly brought them back in Game 2, so they know what he's capable of doing. It was just a couple days ago, and here he gets 3 of the 4 looks he's had were way too easy.
He's 29 points in Game 2, a dozen so far in Game 3 for Reggie Jackson. Utah out of the timeout with 7:21 to go in the half, down 9, leading the series 2-0. Jordan Clarkson on the floor with Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell has it now inside a half court. Dribbling between the legs, approaching the top of the three-point arc. Now explodes and sidesteps to the left, launches a three and connects. That was all Donovan Mitchell.
It's exactly what it was. It's been that way for most of the night. It's been one-on-one play from both teams. So far, that's favored the Clippers.
42-36, back to a 6-point Clipper lead with Reggie Jackson up top, 4 for 4 from 3. Lobs it over the top of Clarkson to Kawhi. Fakes the spin up the post, drives into a double team. Nearly traveled, no call. Instead feeds man on the drive who lays it in. You could hear Quinn Snyder wanted that travel desperately.
He didn't nearly travel, Kesty. He traveled blatantly. Kane Fitzgerald just didn't see it.
44-36, Clippers in front, 6.5 to go in the second. Clarkson against man, nearly lost his footing. Now stops in the high post, spins 360, shovels to Mitchell, who grabs it and knocks home a three. The ultimate weapon when things aren't going well, Donovan Mitchell.
He had nowhere to go. Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell bailed him out.
Kawhi Leonard, his answer three is no good. Mitchell the rebound. Utah down 5 in possession. Mitchell three-point line, taken away by the claw. Down the other end, it's Leonard for the slam.
Paid him back for the first possession of the game. Donovan stripped Kawhi Leonard on a spin move. First possession of the game. Kawhi just did the same thing to Donovan Mitchell.
8 for Leonard. Clippers 46, Utah 39. Again, Batum pressuring. Donovan Mitchell out beyond the three-point stripe. Off the switch, man defending. Now spins to the free throw line. A Euro in the lane. Shot blocked by man. And Terrence comes up with a loose ball.
Well defended.
Gives it to Jackson. Flips it to Kawhi, top of the arc. Back to Jackson on the angle right. Guarded by O'Neal. He'll slow it down and reset here in the half court with 12 to shoot. Jackson dribbling behind the back. Batum thought about a three, now drives, grabbed by Favors, still able to get a shot toward the rim, no good, and Batum will shoot a pair.
Every time they get a switch, and it's poor Derek Favors out beyond the three-point line, guarding one of these smaller wings that the Clippers seem to have about 9 of them. They just attack him. I mean, that's a tough cover for big Derek Favors to play that far out away from the basket.
Derek Favors on the offensive end only offering a couple of points in the first 2 games, and you're right, it's been a mismatch with all the different switching that the Los Angeles Clippers do.
But good recognition by the Clippers. They're finding whoever the person is that has Derek Favors covering him.
Batum, 2 free throws good, 5:20, or rather split the pair, 5:20 to go here in the first half. 47-39, Clippers leading Utah. Mitchell gets by Leonard initially, dribbling, now picks it up at the high post, and he knocks it down from the elbow. Another 2 for Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell was bent over. He was dribbling the ball about 4 inches off the ground. He was down so close to the floor. He just got around Kawhi, pulled up, and made the shot.
He's in double figures with 10. George moves to his right, finds a spot, and drills a 19-footer.
He's looking more and more comfortable. I was on him early because he had great looks and didn't make as many of them as I thought he could. He's heated up now.
He's got 14. Clippers by 8. Clarkson catch and shoot 3. No good from the left. Batum rebounds. Gives it to George with 4.5 to go in the half. George trying to get by O'Neal, does, and now a whistle as O'Neal was beaten. Kane Fitzgerald with the call out on top. That's going to be foul. That'll be the second foul on O'Neal. 3rd team foul in this second quarter. 4:33 to go here in the half.
They're showing the replay of Donovan Mitchell. It's amazing how close to the floor he was dribbling the ball.
It's almost like a Globetrotters move, right?
Like watching Steph Curry warming up before the game, way down close to the floor.
Give it like 4 or 5 quick dribbles and then just rose up and knock it down from 15 feet.
We got some fresh faces on the floor for both teams.
All right, we'll give you those lineups as Jackson has it, looking for Paul George, who basically throws O'Neal away, receives the pass, ducks in against Gobert, but he can't climb the tower. They go outside to Jackson. Step back 3, Reggie misses it, tipped high in the air. The Clippers will get it back.
Marcus Morris, good play, tipping it back.
Kawhi Leonard has it with 4:10 to go in the half. Clippers by 8. Off a high screen, dribbles, shoots, and scores from 17 feet away.
Offensive rebounds are getting to be a problem for the Utah Jazz. They are not rebounding well.
10 for Kawhi. Bogdanovich from the right wing, missing a 3. Gobert contested, couldn't come up with it. Batum has it for the Clippers. 10-point Los Angeles lead. It's their biggest of game 3. Step back 3. Paul George connects again. 54-41 Clippers. And a 17-point first half working for Paul George.
That might have been the toughest shot he had so far. It was well defended. Didn't matter.
3.5 minutes to go. Quarter number 2. And a defense from the 9,000 inside of Staples Center as Donovan Mitchell's hassled by Marcus Morris. Can't get around him. 7 to shoot on top. Now the double comes. They go to O'Neal. Pass on top, and it's deflected. Intended for Clarkson on the near side. Out of bounds with only 1.7 on the shot clock.
Los Angeles, aggressive defense, deflections, physical play, fighting over picks, double teaming Donovan Mitchell as Utah. Not just back on their heels, way back on their heels.
And they'll have to be quick here. A near sideline pass, 1.7 to shoot. Royce O'Neal looks, gets it into Mitchell, fading out of bounds, went off the top of the backboard. Never touched the rim. Shot clock violation. Turnover to Los Angeles.
After this immediate timeout that'll be coming shortly, Utah Jazz would do very well to make some kind of run before they go into the locker room, because they're on the verge of digging a big hole that's going to be very difficult to get out of.
They've been outscored.
Even with this much time left in the game.
27 to 18 in the quarter by the Clippers, who lead by 13. Leonard sends it over to George. He'll square for the deep 3, and he will knock it home. 20 points in the first half for Paul George as the Clippers have opened up a 16-point lead on the Jazz.
The narrative right now is going to be finally Paul George has really stepped up. His numbers are good. He's had 20 in every game, but the percentage has been down a little bit. He's got that going in the other direction right now.
10 consecutive points for the Los Angeles Clippers, led by Paul George. We have a timeout on the floor, charged to the Utah Jazz here, with 2:54 to go in the half and a 57 to 41 lead. And that's been one of the issues for Paul George, whether it was Indiana, Oklahoma City, and now in Los Angeles. But George is delivering. Timeout. We'll step away with 2:54 to go in the half. 57-41. Clippers lead the Jazz. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
This is your new home speaking. I know you haven't moved in yet, but I need some favors. Could you dust the blinds? The dust makes me feel dusty. Also, we could save a lot of money if you bundled your home and car insurance with Geico. It's super easy to do online or over the phone. Last favor, when you move in, could you stick to one aesthetic? The last owner had a weird mix of floral wallpaper and nautical tchotchkes, and I can't have another identity crisis.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Which are you more willing to pay? The commitment to prepare your workforce for the future, or the cost of inaction? It's a question you can't afford to ignore. Introducing ProEdge, a PwC product. It's the revolutionary way to upskill your people and prepare your organization for tomorrow. Proactively own your digital transformation with your existing workforce. Prepare your workforce for tomorrow. Visit proedge.pwc.com/podcast to learn about upskilling, citizen-led innovation, and the workforce of the future. Who doesn't want instant gratification? If you're looking for satisfaction, there's no need to wait. With Credit Karma Money, you could win cash reimbursements for debit purchases. And when you make a purchase between now and June 30th, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney to sign up for free and start winning instant karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MBB Bank Incorporated. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
The NBA playoffs continue. Shot clock is off, down 1. Spinning move. Holiday scores for the lead with 11 seconds to go.
After dropping both games in Brooklyn, Giannis and the Bucks respond with a critical win at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Or will the Nets push them to the brink of elimination?
86 points again. You are extremely fortunate to walk out of here and keep your season alive.
Game 4, the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Indeed.
It's your time now for Did You Know? Brought to you by Geico. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Go to geico.com today. Casty PJ, 20 for Paul George. Did you know his playoff career high in any half with the Clippers is 22? Did you know it's his 12th career playoff half with 20 points or more, just his second with the Clippers. Here he goes tonight. Paul George went off.
And this is the 10th game he scored at least 20 in this postseason. And how about this? I mentioned he hadn't scored 30 in 17 straight games. April 23rd is the last time he had a 30-point game. I didn't ask him to do it in a half, but he's got 20 so far.
He's got a leg up on it, and Quinn Snyder cannot be happy with his team's energy. They're getting outworked at both ends. On the defensive end, their initial defense is not that bad, but then LA is just outworking them to get those second shots. And on the offensive end, they really have them back on their heels. They're struggling to complete passes, get any kind of penetration.
Out of the timeout, Mitchell, tough shot for three, hits it from the left wing. That ends the 10-0 Clipper run to get the Jazz right back in the ballgame. 13 for Donovan Mitchell after a scoreless first quarter.
And he's working very, very hard to get those 13 points.
Bogdanovich commits a personal on Kawhi Leonard way out on top of the floor. Bogdanovich has really defended Kawhi well. That foul is about 30 feet away from the basket.
I didn't see him. He had his back turned to me, but I'm imagining he said something to Kane Fitzgerald like, are you watching what's going on at the other end? All I'm trying to do is be physical back.
First foul on Bogdanovich, team foul number 4, inbound to Leonard, right on top to the red-hot Paul George. They put Donovan Mitchell on him at the three-point line. George fires anyway, misses that one, rebounded on the weak side by O'Neal. Royce into the front court for Utah. Gets into the hands of Mitchell against Reggie Jackson, who bumps him. Out on the perimeter, foul on Jackson will be his second.
That's a tough call. What's got Reggie a little upset? He's thinking, after all I've been doing all night, I got called for that one.
Is that number 4? That is 4th team foul. Yep. So both teams have hit the limit here in the quarter. We'll have a substitution first for the Clippers as Patrick Beverly will enter the lineup.
Patrick looks like he borrowed his sneakers from somebody on the Miami Heat. It's got all those, they call them pastel, or what are those colors that they wear in that one set of uniforms?
Yeah, those are those fuchsia vice versa unis. Inbound to Mitchell, finds Ingles on the cut, puts it up with the left hand, hangs on the rim twice bouncing, tapped out to the three-point line. The Clippers have it.
A layup, missed.
Paul George driving Mitchell deep. Now Gobert in his way, finds Batum, who goes up with a right-hand jam. They're spending so much time on George now. Batum got free for a deuce.
It's a good look inside. Quinn Snyder making the call right now. He wants to somehow get this back down near 10 at the half.
Mitchell, tough three, and he connects with two guys in his face, floating to his right.
The call was 5 chest. That was the signal that Quinn gave. I think what that means is give it to Donovan and get out of his way.
He's got 16 points all in the second quarter. Utah still trails by a dozen. 59-47 Clippers, a minute to go. Batum triggers a three and hits. Wow, the Clippers with 10 threes in the opening half.
These small lineups are really a problem for Utah right now. Marcus Morris is the de facto center right now, playing with guards and small forwards.
Mitchell drives, misses the layup on the other end. Leonard a three, no. Offensive rebound. George in there with Batum. Feeds Leonard, corner triple try, no good. Bogdanovich, the Utah rebound.
Another offensive rebound from the small team.
39 seconds to go in the half. Bogdanovich from the left, hesitates and passes to Mitchell. Oh, he's going to try a 28-foot three, missed it wide right when caroming right into the hands of Batum.
Wow.
The Clippers have 62 on the board and a 15-point lead with 23 seconds to go in the half.
Cannot wind it down, and the Jazz cannot foul.
10 seconds to shoot. George, one dribble, shoots the three in and out. Rebounded by Gobert. Patrick Beverly made a run at that one and nearly got up there. All right, final shot of the half for Utah. Here's Mitchell, but first a foul. Both teams are over the limit as Bogdanovich got hit hard and knocked down on the floor with 5.6 seconds to go in the half. We'll have Utah free throws coming up here on the Patrick Beverly foul.
Patrick Beverly's upset that no one told him he got leveled by the screen. That's what ended up knocking Bogdanovich down.
BJ, it almost took 24 minutes. These are the first Utah free throws.
And not only that, wasn't by design, but there's 5.6 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time to get a good look on the other end. I'm curious whether Quinn Snyder takes Rudy Gobert out to match down for this last possession.
Bogdanovich hit the first free throw. He's got one more coming. Bojan Bogdanovich in his second year with Utah averaged nearly 24 points a game down the stretch of the season. 2 free throws made. 5 seconds to go. Quick inbounds to Jackson. Past half court with 3 to the three-point line. Down, gets a little 5-footer flip shot in with 0.4 of a second to go. Gobert will inbound to O'Neal. He won't even try the long heave. And at half, Clippers put up 64 points, PJ, and have a 15-point lead.
Well, fitting ending to the half. Just dribbled right down the court, went in and took the little shot. Donovan Mitchell turned with his hands, palms up in the air like, what are we doing? We're not playing any defense. It's a very astute observation, but unfortunately, I think it took 24 minutes for them to figure that one out. They had better play some defense in the second half.
Paul George, 20 points in the half, 13 in the quarter. Donovan Mitchell, all 16 of his points coming in the second quarter. And the Clippers at the break lead the Jazz 64-49. As we turn it over to Kevin Winter with the AutoZone halftime report.
All right, Kesty, PJ, AutoZone is free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Clippers are playing like a team that is in a must-win situation. Of course, down 0-2. They are. No team in the history of the NBA playoffs has ever rallied from a 3-game-to-none deficit. Clippers with a 15-point advantage. Up next on the AutoZone halftime report, we look back to a team that did play the exact same way a couple of nights ago in the Milwaukee Bucks. They got on the board against Brooklyn. What happens now for tomorrow's Game 4? Here on ESPN Radio, we'll hear from Tim Legler. At the half, Clippers 64, Jazz 49. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app.
Na na na. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes.
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to progressive could say big.
Cool. I just gotta finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Sand a ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. The NBA playoffs continue. After dropping both games in Brooklyn, Giannis and the Bucks respond with a critical win at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Game 4, the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, presented by Indeed.
Hey, it's Max. Can the Bucks even up the series with a Game 4 win? Tune in Sunday at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. And I'll have reaction Monday on the Max Kellerman Show.
The Woj Pod with Adrian Wojnarowski.
I don't think there was ever any hard and fast line of demarcation given to Mike Budenholzer where it was, you've got to win the championship to keep your job, or you've got to get to the NBA Finals, or the conference finals. We're in the conference semifinals right now against a team that could turn out to be historically great, certainly historically talented team. But I think the feeling for Bud and Bud's future was the season can't end in a thud.
You can listen to the Woj Pod on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Mike Greenberg, Greeny.
Let's be clear on what steroids were. That was huge star players blatantly and flagrantly violating a rule the sport had never actively enforced and putting up historic numbers as a result. Well, here we are 20 years later, and Garrett Cole is being asked about blatantly and flagrantly violating a rule the sport has never actively enforced and putting up historic numbers as a result. The thinking is the exact same. The issue, of course, couldn't be more different. Steroids, especially the way those guys were using them, posed a serious threat to their health, and worse than that, to the health of countless people, including high school-aged kids. This is a sticky substance being hidden on the brim of your cap or on your belt or wherever it is these guys are hiding it, putting it on their fingers and getting it on the baseball and getting more spin on your ball. That's not obviously a dangerous activity, but it is having a disproportionate impact on the sport that we are watching.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
This is Jay Williams from Keyshawn J. Will and Zubin. You're listening to the AutoZone Halftime Report on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Pull into Church's today and experience a true original. Bourbon Black Pepper Smokehouse Chicken is back. Peppered and kissed with our bourbon glaze. Only at Church's, only $5. Church's, bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
Kevin Richard with you inside the AutoZone halftime report. Paul George for 20. He's come alive. Clippers by 15 and a must-win. The highlights coming up, get you set for the second half. Coming up tomorrow, it's game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference semifinal series between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. Games here on ESPN Radio beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you flash back to a couple of nights ago, the Brooklyn Nets and the Bucks mucked it up with Brooklyn, made it a sloppy game. They also didn't call timeout in the final seconds of the game. ESPN's Tim Legler likes that strategy from Milwaukee.
Their MO, Kevin, is to come out of a timeout in that situation and go to Giannis in some sort of an ISO situation. And I just don't think that's a winning formula, because he's in that situation, he's got one way to beat you. He's got to get to the rim. And in order to do that, you're going to have a breakdown defensively, because they're prepared for it. In that situation, you're going to have 5 guys edge of the lane. And his ability to trump that with a mid-range jumper or a deep shot, or, by the way, if he does get in there and get fouled, that's a nightmare for him right now. So it's just not a great way to end games. And I think when you have a 2-time MVP on your roster, that's your inclination. Let's go there. Now, look, they did go game 1 against Miami. They went to Middleton in that exact same situation. He wins the game. They went to Middleton a couple times at pick and roll last night. He made a couple of big jumpers late. Maybe they've changed that, and if that's the case, then that's smart on them to adjust that. But that's why I like them just playing on and let Holiday come up the floor, survey it, saw that they don't have a shot blocker on the floor, and he had an opportunity then to beat a guy one-on-one and get to the rim. In early offense, it paid off. So that's why I like that decision.
We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Legs coverage of game number 4 tomorrow afternoon, ABC Television, ESPN Radio, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Up next on the AutoZone halftime report, Paul George has come alive. Welcome to the playoffs, P. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app.
Janae and Golick Jr.
For a long time, it was Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons out here, and they both were stars that were like, oh, they're about to be all-stars. Ben had this unique energy for the way he played the game. Joel had, dominant factors. People were saying he's a new age big mixed in with Hakeem Olajuwon. And so both of them were competing, which propelled their team to exit the process and step into the ranks of making the playoffs and making these pushes. But now, this year, from start to finish, and we keep bringing it up, from the James Harden trade where Joel Embiid's name was not mentioned and Ben Simmons was, we naturally got everything to trickle down and get that hierarchy. And that hierarchy has delivered in a way where their guys can be more productive. Tobias Harris, Joel, Ben, they know where the ball is going. There's this ease to which they play where there was pressure before. It seems like now they're just going out there and competing at a high level.
Janae and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN Plus. The NBA playoffs continue.
Gets the foul and scores. Donovan Mitchell takes it to the rack.
The drama.
The tanking that they did flabbergasted me. Gutless approach to the playoffs.
The passion.
We can push guys around too. We can talk as well, and we can get a win with it. So what you gonna do about it?
The unforgettable moments.
Good from straight away. 43 for Devin Booker.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
The Max Kellerman Show. Did Floyd carry him? He didn't press for the knockout, but let me say something about Logan Paul and his brother Jake. They love boxing. They have passion for it. There's other ways for these guys to make money. They choose boxing, which is a tough road. So you have to really love it, which they do. They respect the sport. They never disrespect it by training as hard as they can, absorbing as much as they can, learning it, fighting as hard as they can and as well as they can, and then moving on to the next. And by the way, doing a great job promoting the sport and having people put their eyeballs on it. I don't know, I'm not mad at the Paul brothers for that. I'm not going to be mad at Floyd for making $50 to $100 million for an exhibition. Now, that's what it was, an exhibition. It was an exhibition. Floyd was exhibiting his boxing skills against a novice boxer who's much bigger than him.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
This is Keyshawn Johnson for
from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. You're listening to the AutoZone Halftime Report on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
So, you think you know Wrangler jeans? Well, let us introduce you to some exciting new additions to the legacy. Just check out Wrangler.com and discover tons of new styles, all the latest denim trends, and more.
Kevin Richard with you on the AutoZone Halftime Report.
And mid-post left against Niang. Chased out, gives it to George on the wing. George drives using Zubats as a screen. Got right to the rim for the bucket. Tip back three. Paul George connects again. 54-41 Clippers. And a 17-point first half working for Paul George.
That might have been the toughest shot he had so far. It was well defended. Didn't matter.
Paul George, 17 there.
Leonard sends it over to George. He'll square for the deep three, and he will knock it home. 20 points in the first half for Paul George as the Clippers have opened up a 16-point lead on the Jazz.
Paul George comes alive. Clippers trying to keep their season alive. They got a 15-point lead over the Jazz. That'll do it for us on the AutoZone Halftime Report. Second half is next. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app.
With protection for your motorcycle, boat, and RV, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to, unlike this indecisive sports talk host.
All right, welcome to the Big Shark Show.
Hey, Big Shark, any predictions for the game tonight?
Well, if you ask me, they are definitely going to win big, but I also think there's a chance they don't win. It's just my gut that they will, or they won't, but I do have a hunch that whatever happens, we will definitely know when it does.
Wait, so...
Either way, they always seem to come up with a big play, or sometimes just a smaller one.
Switch to Progressive today.
Bottom line, they're going to win. Or lose.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hey, it's Greeny, and it's a huge weekend for the NBA playoffs. We'll be back on Monday recapping all that happened and how close one team is to an NBA championship. See you then. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
At the wall, good! Paul Goldschmidt goes yard, deep to left field.
It's one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, and they go head-to-head this weekend at Wrigley Field when the St. Louis Cardinals face the Chicago Cubs.
Chris Bryant hits one a mile up into the bleachers and left.
The Cardinals and Cubs. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Presented by Credit Karma.
Purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MBB Bank Incorporated. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
The NBA playoffs continue. After dropping both games in Brooklyn, Giannis and the Bucks respond with a critical win at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Game 4, the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Presented by Indeed.
Hey, it's Greeny, and it's a huge weekend for the NBA playoffs. We'll be back on Monday recapping all that happened and how close one team is to an NBA championship. See you then. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
The Low Post Podcast with Zach Lowe.
Bobby Marks. There's still a part of me that just doesn't trust the Clippers.
Well, look, never trust the Clippers is like a pretty healthy life motto to live by.
Check out the Low Post Podcast on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Chene and Golick Jr.
For a long time, it was Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons out here, and they both were stars that were like, oh, they're about to be all-stars. Ben had this unique energy for the way he played the game. Joel had, dominant factors. People were saying he's a new age big mixed in with Hakeem Olajuwon. And so both of them were competing, which propelled their team to exit the process and step into the ranks of making the playoffs and making these pushes. But now, this year, from start to finish, and we keep bringing it up, from the James Harden trade where Joel Embiid's name was not mentioned and Ben Simmons was, we naturally got everything to trickle down and get that hierarchy. And that hierarchy has delivered in a way where their guys can be more productive. Tobias Harris, Joel, Ben, they know where the ball is going. There's this ease to which they play where there was pressure before. It seems like now they're just going out there and competing at a high level.
Chene and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN+.
This is Mike Greenberg, a.k.a. Greeny. You're listening to the AutoZone Halftime Report on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Let's do this fast. Your cousin from Boston. Sam Adams Summer Ale is brewed with a hint of citrus. Perfect for a hot summer day, like this one. End of commercial. It's peak tannin hours, dude. I'm out. Sam Adams Summer Ale. Boston Beer Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Drink responsibly.
That'll do it for us on the AutoZone Halftime Report. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app presented by Indeed. Kevin Richard with you, Kesty and PJ. Ty Lue, the Clippers coach, knew there needed to be some defensive adjustments coming into this game tonight.
They've been able to attack us and get into the paint. They've been able to get three-point shots, and they're just too comfortable. And I think we got to do a better job of picking up our physicality.
I would say job well done. They've got 41 points between Ingles, Mitchell, and Clarkson. No one else is doing anything for Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. And Donovan Mitchell had a 16-point second quarter, but they've done a good job disrupting him and making him take some tough shots.
Well, he made very tough shots to do it, and it's textbook what Tyronn Lue told us. They are infinitely more physical than they were, except for smaller chunks of games 1 and 2, and if sustained it for the 24 minutes, also translated on the offensive glass. It's 7-4 right now, and again, they're just outworking them. They're shooting so well. The only reason they don't have more offensive rebounds is they're making a good share of the shots, and they're shooting over 50%.
And the only reason they're only down 15 was the Jazz scored the first 8 points of the game. So what's your halftime adjustments for the Jazz?
Well, Utah, the first thing they need is energy. They do not have enough energy. They need the defensive rebound. They got to get the Clippers off the glass. That could get their transition game going, which has been basically invisible. Clippers, if it ain't broke, don't touch it. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I mean, great defense, and the numbers you just mentioned, 52% shooting, 50% from three. It's been a low free throw game, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. The Jazz only shot 2 free throws in the first half, and even more impressively, 2 turnovers. That's it for Los Angeles.
The ball. And it wasn't like one hot quarter. They were 50 field goal and 50 three-point both quarters. They've sustained it.
Clippers will have the first attack of the second half. They'll be attacking the basket to our left, starting 5 on the floor as Kawhi Leonard hits Paul George on the baseline. Back up top, Leonard swings it. Left side, Jackson. Ball fake into the corner, Morris. He launches a 3 that misses. Bogdanovich rebounds.
It was a good possession, but Marcus Morris still struggling from the three-point line.
Donovan Mitchell feeds Bogdanovich. Lost the ball. Leonard picks it up behind the back dribble at half court, and Mitchell reaches in to stop things to pick up the foul 29 seconds into this third quarter. First foul on Mitchell.
Good foul by Donovan Mitchell because Kawhi was about to turn the corner and it was going to become a 3-on-1 fast break. Sloppy. Bojan Bogdanovich, who's played very well in the playoffs, is struggling tonight.
Marcus Morris has it for the Clippers, gives it to Leonard with Batum and George and Jackson. Leonard back to Batum on the arc. Look to hand it off to Reggie, not there. Fires to Kawhi, out on the three-point line. Back to Batum, got the foul, threw it toward the rim from three-point distance and missed. It's going to be on Royce O'Neal, his third.
You say he was gathering?
That's what Batum was arguing.
And now they're going to take it out. I thought he put fingers up in the air, but he didn't. They're going to inbound the ball right at the Clipper bench.
Third foul on O'Neal. Inbound to Batum. Handoff George around the screen. Drives down deep. Puts it up. No good. Got his own rebound. Rudy Gobert defending. Wraparound pass for Leonard. Has it, and he'll dribble into the mid-post. Spins quickly. Baseline and puts it in. Tough angle.
Offensive rebound. Offensive rebound. No energy on the defensive boards for the Jazz.
Here's Mitchell. Got a foul call. Put it at the basket. No good off the rim. And how about Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, has been invisible tonight.
Yeah, he really has. And offensively, he had a couple of tips early where he got both hands on the rebound, and I thought he was just going to direct it in, and he just missed it, and he's getting caught in some horrendous matchups. He's got excellent feet. He can guard away from the basket as well as any big in the league, but not against these guys. They're just creating switches. Every time there's a switch, whether it's Rudy Gobert or Derek Favors, when he's on the floor, they're trying to guard smaller, quicker Clippers out 30 feet from the basket. They simply can't do it. And compounding that, Donovan Mitchell just missed the first free throw. They need every one of these.
As you heard the crowd get excited at Staples Center, Mitchell missing on the first of 2. Foul was on Reggie Jackson, his third. We're just a minute 8 into the third quarter. Second free throw good. 66-50. Clippers still up 16 points in search of their first win in the series. Lost the first 2 games in Salt Lake City. This is the first of 2 in Los Angeles. Monday night, they'll have the late game in Game 4. Here's Leonard driving, kicks it out on the wing to Jackson. Back up top, Batum fakes the three, drives the lane, kick back to Leonard, tipped away by O'Neal, off the steal. Royce O'Neal passes to the corner. Here's Bogdanovich for three. Can't cash it in, but Gobert's there to grab it and flush it.
That's exactly what Quinn Snyder's looking for, some evidence of defensive energy that'll create some offensive opportunities.
Here's Leonard on the drive, kicks to the left corner, Batum, wide open three, knocks it home. I love how Nick Batum has been playing this year in L.A.
Batum has found himself a nice home, and he's been very productive on both ends, Kesty.
Here's Mitchell, goes hard at the rim, little jump stop and up and puts it in for two, 69-54. Clippers lead down to 15. 19 points for Donovan Mitchell here in Game 3. Leonard goes right side, Batum fakes on the three, drives, Gobert who chases it down and blocks it. A little spike action from the 7-2 center. Here's Mitchell the other way. Oh, he faked the pass, drove the lane, missed it, tip. The Clippers come up with it.
A big miss right there.
Paul George puts his head down, drives, floats it up, and there's a very late charge call against Paul George from the weak side official, James Williams. That felt like it was 2 seconds after it happened.
Yeah, James Williams is the slot official. Kane Fitzgerald was the trail on the right-hand side. I don't want to second guess because I'm not sure who's responsible for what area of the court, but it was a blatant charge. Donovan Mitchell, though, went right by his man the previous offensive possession, just missed a layup. Utah trying to string together a couple of baskets.
Down 15, Joe Ingles with it on top for the Jazz, dribbling on the left side, now to the right-hand dribble to the free throw line against Batum. Takes him to the middle of the lane, passes out to Bogdanovich, 5 to shoot. Boyan fakes the pass, drives the lane again, too hard, missed the layup. Rebound Los Angeles. Reggie Jackson front court to George on the right. Little drive and fake on Gobert. Floater, no good. Came up short as George went to the ground.
Jazz have got to take advantage. They missed 2 layups.
Mitchell on the drive. Another layup miss. Gobert the follow, but a whistle and a call from Kane Fitzgerald.
Donovan Mitchell's missed 2 layups. Boyan Bogdanovich missed 1. He's 1 for 7, by the way, for the game. And Rudy Gobert missed an easy tap. Luckily for him, he got fouled, but Clippers a little bit flat right now, and the Jazz with a chance to get back in it, and they've already wasted 3 offensive opportunities.
Marcus Morris Sr. committed the foul on Gobert, who will go to the line. 62% on the season, 61% here in the postseason.
He had that offensive rebound. He had the ball in his left hand and just shot it like all by himself. Looked like he was working on his form, and it didn't go in.
Gobert eyeing the rim with 8:51 to go, third quarter. Jazz find themselves in a 15-point hole. First free throw goes in, though, for Gobert. Got it down to 14 points.
Rattled all around, but it was soft and went down.
Gobert had his playoff career high 20 rebounds in Game 2 the other night in Salt Lake City. He's had 3 games, PJ, so far in this postseason with at least 15 rebounds and 3 block shots.
One of the reasons that he's going to struggle to get that total tonight is they're making a guard way away from the basket. Whoever he's covering, they're putting out on the perimeter. Clippers are really playing 5 out. There's nobody inside.
69-56 on the 2 made free throws by Gobert. Leonard has it at the top against Royce O'Neal. Tip of the circle. Ball up, now drives into Mitchell, who gives him up. O'Neal didn't get there in time, and Kawhi knocks home the jumper.
And that's Donovan's fault. He didn't help him at all. Royce O'Neal's doing a good job, and Donovan just, waved that. Kawhi Leonard didn't give O'Neal enough time to get back.
71-56 Clippers. Mitchell drives into 3. Clippers tried to pass one off the arm of an LA defender, and Paul George has it coming the other way. Feeds Leonard, goes strong to the hole and flushes. And a whistle with 8:13 to go in the third.
Donovan Mitchell's saying he fouled him at the top of the key.
And they haven't put the points on the board yet, so he might have saved 2 right there. He did. Ty Lue, can't believe it. He's like, you didn't put the points on the board? Talking to the lead official, Kane Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he and Kenny Atkinson are double teaming. They're double teaming everybody tonight. They're double teaming Kane Fitzgerald that time.
Second foul on Mitchell. This will be side out for Los Angeles on the far right side. Clippers get it into Batum. Dribble handoff Leonard coming around the top. Switches to the left hand of the lane. A jump stop and a pass out. Morris fakes the three. Drives Bogdanovich. Fading shot. Good for Morris as the Clippers go up 73 to 56.
Marcus Morris is making his twos. He hasn't solved the three dilemma yet. That's a foul.
Yeah, it's a foul on Batum, who was guarding Rudy Gobert, who received the pass down low. That'll be number 1 on Nick Batum, his French teammate from the French national team, as Gobert will shoot a pair.
Marcus Morris is 3 for 3 inside the line. He's 0 for 2 outside the line. And again, we're talking somebody that was just on fire in the first series. And so far in this series, Marcus Morris is 1 for 16. Wow, three-point line, which is hard to imagine.
First free throw good for Gobert with 7:54 to go in the third. And you're right, the Jazz in the first 2 games in Salt Lake City, the third quarter was the big quarter for them. They've had opportunities to bite into this deficit, but they've missed so many of them.
This is 3 layups. I mean, absolute layups, and then Donovan Mitchell tried last time to get in there again. There were 3 Clippers waiting for him.
Well, Gobert stroking 4 straight free throws, 2 there. 73-58, Clippers in front, 7:45 and counting. Third quarter in L.A. Paul George will find Leonard at the top. Kawhi. Now they switch the defense. He's got O'Neal. He blows right by him and jams it home. 3 different defenders were going after Kawhi. None of them got in front of him, and Leonard with 2.
Donovan Mitchell's just showing he's not switching on to Kawhi, and he's leaving Kawhi too soon before O'Neal gets back.
And a catch-and-shoot 3 for Royce O'Neal goes down.
But they're going to keep running the same thing because they're doing a poor job keeping O'Neal on Kawhi.
Oh, Leonard got deep, was looking to pass out. Nobody got on top of him and just went behind the back and laid it in. Kawhi Leonard giving the Clippers a 77-61 advantage. Here's Donovan Mitchell. He got deep and lays it up and in.
It's looking a little summer league-ish right now. There's not a lot of defense. It's like the All-Star game a couple years ago.
You're right, and I think Ty Lue recognized that and said, we're taking a timeout, 7:01 to go, third quarter, Game 3, Clippers 77, the Utah Jazz 63. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Progressive wants your pets to be their best selves, so we cover them in our auto policy, and we created this self-empowerment series just for them.
You are lying paws up on the sofa. A human caresses the itchy spot behind your left ear, as another human feeds you a slice of cheese. Your ancestors are wolves.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
The NBA playoffs continue.
Shot clock is off, down 1. Spinning move, Holiday scores for the lead with 11 seconds to go.
After dropping both games in Brooklyn, Giannis and the Bucks respond with a critical win at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Or will the Nets push them to the brink of elimination?
86 points again. You are extremely fortunate to walk out of here and keep your season alive.
Game 4, the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Indeed.
Hey, it's Max. Can the Bucks even up the series with a Game 4 win? Tune in Sunday at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. And I'll have reaction Monday on the Max Kellerman Show.
Today, and Golick Jr.
The Suns got a real chance. Like, we shouldn't be surprised. The only reason we're surprised is because the logo's different. The best teams are going out and playing largely like the best teams this postseason. The difference is they just got logos that we're not used to. The difference is LeBron James isn't out there, which, by the way, I don't know how you don't draw a ton of confidence from that matchup.
Today and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Kevin Richard with you inside our Granger Studios. The Undefeated on ESPN Plus offers fans year-round premium content highlighting the intersectionality of race, culture, and sports. Check out premium storytelling, your favorite ESPN films, and more exclusively on ESPN Plus. Sign up now at ESPNplus.com. Testy and PJ It's almost like Utah is going through the motions tonight. 77-63. Clippers have the 14-point advantage over the Jazz. When Utah trailed by 17, it matched their largest deficit this postseason when they fell behind by Memphis. You can't go score for score right now. If you're down by 14, you need some stops.
Yeah, they lost that first game to the Grizz, and Utah's won 6 straight since, but there's been very little resistance by the Jazz tonight.
No, they're not. Obviously, they can't afford to trade baskets. Ty Lue doesn't want to do it either. He wants to put them away, and they're kind of right now. They're still scoring at will, but they're not stopping Utah. And he also realizes it's 14-13 so far this period in favor of the Jazz, but Ty Lue remembers those 3 layups that were missed. It could very easily be 20-13.
And ready to get back out on the floor. Looks like starting 5s are still in the ball game. Kawhi Leonard has it up to 18 points, 8 of them coming in this third quarter on perfect 4-for-4 shooting.
Like the chances of he and Paul George going for 20 again?
Very good. Here's Leonard right on cue with an 18-footer out of the timeout.
Every game this postseason, the two of them have had, each have had 20 points.
That'll be 10 games now, 7 against Dallas, and this is 3. Here's Mitchell, a rainbow as he's fouled on the 3 by Morris. Shot won't go, and Mitchell will earn 3 free throws with 6:38 left in the third.
Notice who was guarding Kawhi Leonard there, 30 feet away from the basket.
Is that Derek Favors?
Yes, it was.
They have, I mean, you're right. It's been a great strategy employed. It seems like this entire game we have seen Rudy Gobert or Derek Favors trying to chase somebody running to the rim.
One of his blocks was just doing that. He got beat so bad on the dribble, but he stayed in play and came from behind. And I'm not picking on Derek Favors. Ty Lue is picking on Derek Favors and doing a very good job of it.
Donovan Mitchell hit the first free throw. I like his setup. He's got both eyes closed for a good 3 or 4 seconds, I guess, visualizing. Didn't visualize that one as it hit the front rim, missed. He'll get one more coming.
Shot it like his eyes were still closed.
Donovan Mitchell was scoreless in the first quarter. The Clippers actively pursued him, forced the ball out of his hands, then scored.
And they started
16 in the second.
Well, they started with Kawhi Leonard on him, and they tried to deny him the ball. And when he got the ball, they came with the quick double teams. And other than Joe Ingles, players on Utah in the white uniforms were not able to make the open shots. It took them a while to get untracked.
2 out of 3 free throws made by Mitchell, 79-65. Clippers lead by 14. Leonard at the top, 10 points in the period, 20 in the game against Favors at a right hand up defending. Puts it on the deck, puts up the shot, no good. O'Neal with a rebound for the Jazz. Leaves it for Mitchell. Back to O'Neal. Catch and shoot 3 left angle. Short ball goes straight down off the rim to Kawhi.
Same defense that Donovan Mitchell got the ball. The whole defense shifted over.
Batum a 3 from the left. Not there. Rebound Utah. Another O'Neal rebound.
Chris O'Neal is also struggling to 3 this series.
Here's Mitchell. Walks right to the 3-point line and drops home the 3-pointer. And all of a sudden, Utah trying to get it closer, down 11. A lot of time to go with 5:45 to go third quarter. And a turnover by the Clippers. A wild pass to the near side was a short hop. No chance for Marcus Morris to dig out. That's a rare turnover, number 5 for the Clippers.
They took very good care of the ball. Admittedly, though, not being pressured very much, but still did a good job limiting the turnovers.
Utah trying to get it into single digits. Donovan Mitchell up top being shaded by Leonard. Looked across left. Bounces it to O'Neal on the 3-point line. Back to Mitchell with 8 to shoot. A spin move, lost the ball, got it back. Baseline left. George in his way. Finds Clarkson. Floats it up. No. Tap up. Yes. Favors. And it's a 9-point game.
Offensive glass.
79-70. 7 straight points for Utah.
Looks like a 2-3 zone from Utah.
Turnabout is fair play. Reggie Jackson shoots over the zone and drops home his 5th triple.
Jordan Clarkson was just too soft in his coverage.
82-70. Clippers back up a dozen. Clarkson receives the skip pass on the right, drives the lane, left side to a wide open O'Neal for 3 and an answer. Royce O'Neal with a 3. 4:45 to go in the third.
He needed that. He came in 1 for 6 in this series, and he was 1 for 4 before he made that shot.
Paul Georgia at 20 first-half points, scoreless in the quarter, has it, runs right into a brick wall named Royce O'Neal, bounces off, now takes Favors, got underneath and lays it in, he went right around Favors.
Again, when they get that matchup, whether it's zone or man, when he's guarding the ball, they put it on the floor and they beat him off the dribble.
4:15 to go here in the third. 84-73 Clippers. Here's the double on Mitchell. They passes out to Bogdanovich. Right corner, Clarkson. He finds himself double. They work it up top. Mitchell gets a good look at a three. Missed it long. Offensive rebound, O'Neal. Finds Bogdanovich. Right wing three is true, and Utah has it down to 8.
Offensive boards again. Kind of underrated. The Jazz are arguably the best rebounding team in the league. When you combine the offense and the defense, they're hurting the Clippers now on the offensive boards.
So the Clippers had a 17-point lead, and the Utah Jazz are whittling it down. A timeout with 4:02 to go in the third. Still the Clippers 84 and the Jazz 76. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indeed.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball, it's the next chapter in one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Presented by Credit Karma. The Low Post Podcast with Zach Lowe.
Bobby Dallas is out. What in the hell is going on there? And can they trade Porzingis anywhere with, I believe, 3 years and $101 fat dollars left on his contract?
Yeah, I mean, there's a buyer beware on Porzingis. They're at a crossroads with their roster because you need him to be like an all-NBA player, and if he's not, then you're probably looking at first-round exits for the foreseeable future.
Check out the Low Post Podcast on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Shanae and Golick Jr.
A.J. Brown coming in and immediately saying, no, I'm the number 2 guy now that Julio Jones is here, this player that I've revered. When everyone kind of has an understanding, it makes everyone's life so much easier, especially when you're getting ready to, as Julio Jones, as a 32, 33-year-old player, diving into something new. Can't tell you what an asset that is for that team going forward.
Shanae and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN+.
Kevin Witcher with you inside our Green Shoe Studios. Top of Straight Talk Soundbites brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. A couple of nights ago for Steve Nash, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. What cost him the game was the what?
It's 3 games now. I thought our defensive effort was good. It's interesting that we lose a game because of our offense, but it was just a tough game. We just couldn't find a rhythm. A great opportunity for us to learn and grow from this. And the defense was solid, though, but we got to clean it up, both ends of the floor, but particularly offensively.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Kesty JB, you had it the other night, or Kesty NJB had it the other night, 86-83. Sean and PJ have game 4 tomorrow with me beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's a 2-1 Nets lead.
Yeah, John Barry feeling a bit under the weather tonight. PJ, thanks for stepping up, taking his spot. What are you going to go, 4 straight days, 3 straight days?
Got to work sometime, Kesty. I'll tell you what, Ty Lue, that timeout he took a while ago was good because he knew his team wasn't defending. They've given up 27 points in the first 8 minutes of this quarter. That's why the Jazz are back in the game. They're still scoring. They've got 20 points themselves. It's not bad for 8 minutes, but they've given up 27.
But can they get a stop? Here they are defending, and they go right at Derek Favors in the lane. Kawhi passes it back to Zubac. Oh, he almost picked up the pivot foot. Back out to the wing, George holding against Bogdanovich. Shot clock down to 6. Now rises, fires, and connects from the deep right corner.
Boyan gave him too much room, and it's interesting. Ty Lue's gone back with the big lineup. Zubac's on the floor.
Here's Donovan Mitchell, gets a look at a three over Zubats, off the front rim, missed, and George, who's got 25 points, grabs the rebound.
I've seen enough of those offensive rebounds from the Jazz.
Now George and Favors collide, both went down at the three-point line. It's a block foul called by Michael Smith against Derek Favors with 3:21 to go here in the third quarter. Paul George, who has really struggled percentage-wise, 5 of 8 from three-point land tonight after shooting 32% of the
I'm watching the replay right now. I said Boyan gave him too much room. He didn't give him any room at all. He just made the shot. That was pretty good defense by Bogdanovich. He just made a shot, and he was right in Paul George's grill.
Here's George off the inbound, missing a three. Rudy Gobert grabs the board. 3:10 to go, third quarter. Clippers 87, Jazz 76.
Jazz need to consolidate. They don't need to catch up right now. They just got to stay under 10 going into the fourth quarter.
Mitchell with it, gets a high Gobert screen, drives right at Zubats, layup blocked out of bounds. Zubats and Beverly getting it done defensively, and Big Zoo knocks it across the baseline.
And he's getting 5. His teammates are all slapping him 5 because that's the first time Donovan Mitchell hasn't been able to get all the way to the rim other than the time he drove in the middle of 3 Clippers on that one play.
Shot clock's at 6 on this baseline inbound.
Patrick Beverly.
And we got a delay on the other end of the floor. They're going to bring out a couple of the mops. Not sure what went on that end of the floor, but out on the three-point line. Well, that was where the collision was. That's right.
Zubats and Paul George collision.
Usually those guys run right out there and mop it up, but Kane Fitzgerald, the trail official that time, noticed it hadn't been done.
Tyloo's taking advantage. He's got his team huddled around him. Quinn Snyder looks suspiciously like a timeout right there.
2:57 to go, third quarter. They've mopped up the perspiration on the other end of the floor. And now Utah will trigger with Donovan Mitchell, front court, baseline right.
3 important minutes for both teams. Clippers want to reestablish that they've dominated this game, get that lead back up. Utah wants to consolidate their run they've made here in the third quarter and stay within 10.
Clarkson has it, shot clock at 3, fades to the baseline, fires, misses, rebounded by Leonard, took it away from Bogdanovich. Kawhi into the front court. 11-point Clipper lead, 2:40 left in the third. Patrick Beverly, slow dribble up top, over the top pass for Leonard, and he got fouled by Mitchell as Kawhi was way up on his tippy toes to try and grab that one. And they are over the limit, are the Utah Jazz, as Mitchell picks up his third. That'll put Kawhi Leonard at the line.
Boy, there was not much there, and worse, it's hit 5th one, which you talked about, team foul. Donovan Mitchell heads to the bench for his customary rest, but what the Clippers have done since the timeout, more than anything, they've limited him to 1 shot. There's been no more offensive rebounds. And Zubats himself hasn't got any, but going big or the message that Ty Lue delivered was important. It's been one and done for Utah the last 3 trips.
Mitchell out, Ingles in. Ty Lue gives Batum a rest. Batum has been the main defender on Mitchell tonight as the free throws go in, both of them for Kawhi Leonard. 89-76 Clippers. Quickly down floor, Bogdanovich.
I was just going to say, you wonder where the offense is going to come from, and the Clippers just returned the favor, committed their 5th foul, and they're going to put Bogdanovich on the line. They didn't have to do anything. You know, when Quinn Snyder was talking to us today, truly Mike Conley is their only real point guard. And when Mike Conley's not there, they kind of do it by committee. It's not like Joe Ingles is the point guard or Jordan Clarkson is the point guard. They try and redistribute, you know, the duties, and they all want to be playmakers. They all want to help with the ball handling. But that's a nice way for Quinn to say the offense doesn't flow as well when Mike Conley's not there running it.
When Bogdanovich has 2 free throws, 89-78. Clippers still lead, 2.5 to go. And Quinn Snyder said it's not because we're up 2 games to none, we're giving him more rest. He just not ready yet. Here's a floater for the rim. Zubats grabs it from Paul George and flushes on the alley-oop.
Lou picked a good time to go back big. It's paying off so far.
91-78 Clippers, 2:10 left, third quarter. Ingles drives hard on the left, got up in the air with nowhere to go, tried to twist and turn, and got bailed out with a foul down low against Los Angeles.
Wow, that was a tough call right there. Joe Ingles literally had nowhere to go.
Paul George ends up getting ticketed with the personal. That would be his third. And again, both teams in the penalty. That'll put Utah at the line with 2:10 left in the third quarter. Reminder, a trio of NBA podcasts hosted by Zach Lowe, Brian Windhorst, and Adrian Wojnarowski. Join the conversation wherever you get your podcasts. Joe Ingles burying the first of 2 free throws in a first half that was largely devoid of free throw shooting. Both teams getting to the line here in the last few minutes. Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard on the floor. Paul George, only 5 points in the third quarter, but 5 big ones after Utah was able to get it down to 9.
At 3, he made over Bogdanovich from the right corner, right in front of the Clipper bench. It was a tough shot. Joe Ingles knocks the second one down. Utah has gone back to trading baskets. They can't afford that. They need some stops.
Down 11, 91-80 Clippers. We just crossed 2 minutes to go in the third. Leonard chased by Ingles. Little contact there, no whistle. Now a step back 3. Kawhi missed it short. Rebound, Bojan Bogdanovic.
Settled that shot.
Bogdanovic quickly into the front court, gives it to Jordan Clarkson, gets a screen from Gobert, tries a 3, off the rim. No, Kawhi leaps for the rebound, his 10th. Here in game 3.
Big shot right there for Jordan Clarkson.
Leonard nearly traveled, finds Kennard, who hits a 3 out on the left wing. Leonard was up in the air and nearly hit the earth. Somehow passed it out.
I thought he had his feet on the ground before he made the pass. Luke Kennard has really been effective off the bench for Ty Lue.
94-80 Clippers. 1:18 left in the third. Ingles receives the pass, tries a 3, around it out. Gobert couldn't get the rebound. He was too far underneath. Got knocked off his spot. Here's Beverly feeding Leonard. Lobs it for the rim. Zubats missed it and tried to go for the jam. It was a bad pass attempt to him. Down floor, O'Neal looks to pass. Fires a skip into the left corner. And Ingles hits a tray with 56 seconds to go in the third. Utah down 11.
Yeah, that last one spun out on him. That Jordan Clarkson one was big. Gobert set an excellent screen. Jordan was wide open, top of the key, and couldn't get it to go.
Patrick Beverly with it. 44 seconds left in the third. Utah still looking for that big stand. Beverly's going to drive straight line right into Gobert. Flips it up, no. Offensive rebound man with 35 seconds to go. Sends it to Kennard, baseline left. Guarded by Joe Ingles. Shot clock at 6. Here's Kennard, left-hand dribble, gets by Ingles. Pass to the corner with 1 to shoot. Man for 3. In and out. Tipped up, and Bogdanovic has it for Utah. The Jazz can get it into single digits here with the last shot of the third quarter.
Get it in Jordan Clarkson's hand. They're struggling right now.
8 seconds to go. Clarkson has it about 10 feet behind the stripe with 5. Left-hand dribble with 3 to the three-point line. Down to the baseline with 1. Gives it up. Late shot 3 was not in time. It wasn't good by O'Neal anyway. And it's 94-83 Clippers headed to the fourth.
Good job by the Clippers since the timeout. Good response. They got a better effort on the defensive boards. That time they doubled Jordan Clarkson. They didn't allow him to get off the shot. Still, progress made by the Jazz. They're kind of back in the game. Yes, first 4 minutes of the fourth, they're going to be very revealing.
Jazz won the quarter 34-30. Clippers lead headed to the fourth. 94-83 on Utah. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indeed.
If we go to page 11 in the presentation, you'll see that we're on target to meet our quarterly.
Some things never change, like nobody can resist popping plastic bubbles, and Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
As I was saying, we're on target to meet. Excuse me, Miss Hansen.
Sorry, almost done.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Why is it Dad always says, I don't want anything, every Father's Day? Because he's never received a Man Crate. With hundreds of gifts, mancrates.com has the gear, flavors, and activities millions of dads love, making finding the perfect gift for Dad almost as fun as giving it to him. Try the exotic jerky toolbox, a real toolbox stuffed with wild meats like elk, venison, and boar. Or go for the whiskey appreciation crate, a personalized decanter, personalized glasses, drinking accessories, and snacks. Most Man Crates are shipped in their own awesome container, a wooden crate and crowbar, or an ammo can, or a gift card in a concrete block, making unwrapping as awesome as the gift. Personalization is free, and Man Crates comes with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, or your money back. Now through June 20th, get 20% off site-wide when you spend $149 or more at mancrates.com/streaming. Yep, 20% off at mancrates.com/streaming. mancrates.com/streaming.
79% of CEOs are concerned about the availability of key digital skills, but only 18% are making progress with upskilling their workforce. Introducing ProEdge, a PwC product. The revolutionary way to upskill your people and prepare your organization for tomorrow. Focus on upskilling initiatives that can teach the digital skills needed to grow the business and increase productivity. Visit proedge.pwc.com/podcast to learn about upskilling, citizen-led innovation, and the workforce of the future.
With you inside our Granger Studios, 12 to go for the Clippers to get on the board of the series.
Leonard dearly traveled, finds Kennard, who hits a three out on the left wing. Leonard was up in the air and nearly hit the earth, somehow passed it out.
I thought he had his feet on the ground before he made the pass. Luke Kennard has really been effective off the bench for Ty Lue.
Ty Lue's been pushing all the buttons tonight. It is a 94-83 Clipper lead over the Jazz. Trailed the series 2 games to none. We go to the fourth with PJ. Here's Kesty.
All right, Kev, I give Ty Lue a ton of credit. He's very patient, especially being down 0-2. He's actually won 3 of 5 series down 0-2 as a head coach. He just waits for his combinations, and it's come in so far tonight.
Ty Lue's an excellent coach, and he also realizes when he's got guys like Kyrie Irving or LeBron James, Paul George, or Kawhi Leonard, sit tight. Those guys are going to get it going, and they can get you back in series.
Here we go, fourth quarter getting underway with the Clippers in front, 94-83. Jazz ball left to right. Donovan Mitchell has it on the right. He scoops it to George Niang, a little bit behind him, gets it, throws it to the rim. Gobert tried to guide it through the cylinder, but not close. Turnover and a foul. Niang fouling Luke Kennard, who was headed the other way.
I'd have to see it again. I don't know whether that was an errant pass by George Niang. It looked like it should have been caught and controlled by Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert has been virtually silent tonight here in Game 3. 10 points, 9 boards. Here's Zubac up high, the big unit on the floor for the Clippers. Paul George. Reggie Jackson at the top. Jackson, no look for Zubac, got deflected left wing, picked up by Mann. He'll drive it hard, and Niang was going for the block, but got a piece of Mann. He'll shoot a pair. George Niang, a couple of fouls picked up here early in the fourth quarter. He's up to 3.
George Niang, something happened between the first round and this round of games, and he's had a little trouble getting on track, not just with his shooting, but also, again, tough matchups on the floor for George Niang right now in terms of guarding the smaller, quicker Clippers. Even though Lue's gone back to Zubac, he's now at least playing one center with the 4 wing players.
Terrence Mann is the first free throw. We'll reset the lineups for you. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Zubac, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann on the floor. LA in their black unis with the Old English Los Angeles across the chest. We got Gobert, Joe Ingles, Mitchell, Clarkson, Niang in Jazz white at Staples Center. A lot of cardboard cutouts still in the seats. There are 9,000 fans, about 1,500 more than they've had so far this postseason. Man hit the free throws, 96-83 Clippers.
You think the cardboard cutouts get to the game late also, like the fans in LA?
And leave early. Oh, a nice up and under layup from Donovan Mitchell in traffic. Here in this first minute of play, Jazz down 11.
There's not room on either team's shooting chart for more shots in the paint. Both teams are living in their opponent's paint.
George, step back 3, good. Totally deep the defender, nobody picked him up, and Paul George hits his 6th three-pointer of Game 3.
This is the Paul George that the fans in Los Angeles have longed for.
Here's the Niang lob for Gobert. This time he grabs and flushes for the easy bucket, down 12.
Ivica Zubac and Reggie Jackson having an animated conversation. Like, hey, whose fault was that?
90 seconds into the fourth. George works his way into the front court, into the lane, harassed by Ingles from behind. Now puts it up. No good. Rebound grab by Niang of Utah. He'll hand it off to Ingles. Nearly lost the dribble at half. Finds Niang, who triggers a quick 3 and missed it wide right off the glass. Paul George coming the other way to our left. George accelerates into the lane, trying to find Zubats. Ball deflected, gets to Zubats, hooks it with a right, not there. Tips it out, but right to Joe Ingles.
Numbers 5 on 4.
Here's Mitchell, and Kennard saw that and commits the take foul, if you will, to stop that transition. Foul on Luke Kennard will be his second. First team foul against Los Angeles with 10:02 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Royce O'Neal and George Niang both came into this game 3 of this series shooting 1 for 6 from downtown. Royce O'Neal's gotten untracked. George Niang yet to. He's now 1 for 7 from the three-point line in this series.
Donovan Mitchell was going to inbound. Instead, Clarkson gets it into Mitchell. We just dropped under 10 minutes to go in the game. Mitchell, the drive, hangs in the air, gets it off the glass and in as he was leaning backwards through contact.
He turned to Kate Fitzgerald and said, hey, that's an N1. 10 was not mine.
10-point game, Clippers lead and possession. Reggie Jackson probing and now peels off to the left.
Mismatch.
Against Gobert. Takes him to the left. Now into the lane. Wraps him around with the right hand. Missed the shot. Rebounded by Mitchell.
Well defended by Rudy Gobert.
Down floor Niang. Oh, he was trying to find Gobert on the cut. It was short. It's a turnover. Down floor Jackson to man. Into the corner Kennard. Spins it up from 3 and buries it as the Clippers go up 102 to 89.
Huge turnover by George Niang. You and I were talking in between the periods. That's now 11 for 20 points. Not just the turnovers, they're converting off those turnovers, and that one was a bad one.
102-89, Los Angeles Clippers. 9:10 to go. Pass for Gobert. Again deflected and turned over. Number 12. Kennard the other way. Tries for 3. There was a whistle before the shot on a foul in transition. With 9:06 to go, the Jazz is turning the ball over left and right.
It's the same guy 3 times in a row. Trying to throw the lob passes. Luke Kennard makes him pay on the previous one right there. That was a good foul, but they're working there. You feel they're like a play or two, possession or two away from getting back in it. And then just careless turnovers compounded by the fact that it's led to Clipper baskets on the other end.
Clippers have it inbounds. Paul George, he tried to twist and pass to the right, but Royce O'Neal was right there. Turnover. Down 13. Mitchell at the top. Stops on a dime. Finds O'Neal on the left for 3, and he buries it. And Utah's back down 10. 8:44 to go in the fourth quarter.
He stops. I don't know if they can get him against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Euro stepping down the lane. George flips it high off the glass and in. His first 30-point game since late April has put the Clippers up a dozen.
Circus shot going in off 1 foot. Heck of an offensive move by Paul George.
Mitchell fouled by man up high before the three-point shot was taken. That is number 3 by Terrence Mann. In that break, Quinn Snyder, PJ, also took out George Niang and brought Bogdanovich back out onto the floor.
Yeah, he had to. George Niang is just really having trouble. Making three-point shots, but compounding the fact he's turning the ball over, trying to throw lobs to Rudy Gobert.
Here's Mitchell on the spin in the lane. Couldn't get the shot up. Knocked away. Paul George threads the needle down floor to Kawhi. A Euro step. And the floater is in. Clippers 106. Utah 92. And the Jazz forced to call timeout.
Every time they've threatened to get back in it, either the Clippers have had a response or they've shot themselves in the foot. This time they shot themselves in the foot.
Paul George has 30. Kawhi Leonard has it up to 24. We got a timeout in Los Angeles with 8:06 to go in Game 3. Clippers 106, Jazz 92. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indy.
All right, we've got lucky caller number 4, Marcus, on the line. If he answers this question, he wins a new car.
Let's do this.
Okay, for a new car, name the only actor to appear in...
And now a message from our sponsor.
With 24/7 support and quick and easy claims, Progressive protects what matters most. Progressive.
Films all in the same year.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear the question.
3 seconds, Marcus.
Yeah, no, but there was an ad in the middle.
You didn't answer.
I didn't hear anything.
Marcus, you dropped it in the dirt.
Progressive. There's never a bad time for great protection. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
At the wall, score!
one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, and they go head-to-head this weekend at Wrigley Field when the St. Louis Cardinals face the Chicago Cubs.
Chris Bryant hits one a mile up into the bleachers and left.
The Cardinals and Cubs. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Presented by Credit Karma.
$149 or more at mancrates.com/streaming. Yep, 20% off at mancrates.com/streaming. mancrates.com/streaming.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you can pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. A contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game. And now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
Kevin Richard with you in our Granger Studios. Time now with What to Watch For, brought to you by the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. We've talked a lot about Game 4 tomorrow between the Nets and the Bucks. Don't forget Game 4 between the Suns and the Nuggets tomorrow night. Suns are in the midst of one of the most dominant stretches in NBA history. They're the first team to take a 20-point lead in 5 consecutive playoff games over the last 25 seasons. They don't need to do it tomorrow night. They need to win by 1. After 48 minutes, they do that. Room time. Dust them off. Suns with the sweep of the Nuggets tomorrow night.
Yeah, they'll have a little bit of a wait for the Western Conference Finals if they could do that. I did not know this, PJ. Probably Kevin did. Chris Paul, in his 16-year career, has never led a playoff series 3 games to none. Any of his teams.
Surprising, as many as he's been in and as many good teams as he's been on.
Yep. Of course, which included the Los Angeles Clippers. Remember, they have not been able to get over the hump into the conference finals ever. 50 years. Comes Utah to the break, and a 3 from the left isn't there. Favors tips, loose in the corner, chased down by Man.
It was one pass, so he didn't get a chance to look too long, but I think that was a 2-3 zone by the Clippers out of that timeout.
7:45 to go in regulation. Clippers looking for the first win of the series. They'll turn it over, a pass to Mitchell, and before he could get down floor, Luke Kennard got in his way to stop transition and picks up the foul, his 3rd.
Terrence Mann got out of control. I think that was Terrence Mann got out of control up in the air and just ended up throwing a blind pass right to the Utah Jazz. Not a good idea.
3rd foul on Kennard, 3rd team foul on the Clippers. 7.5 minutes to go with the Utah Jazz down 14. Mitchell with it, out on the left wing, a slow dribble toward the top. Shaded by Man, now picked up by George. Passes to O'Neal, who drives into a crowd, skips it to the far side. Shot clock at 5. Bogdanovich sends it behind him, and it's Clarkson who buries a 3. And the Jazz have it down to 11 once again. And a steal on the inbound. Clarkson with 7:12 to go. Chance to get it into single digits. Finds Donovan Mitchell with a head of steam into the lane. Flips it up around. Tipped in. No, are they gonna wave it off? Yep. Basket interference against Utah.
And Donovan Mitchell came out of it limping. I don't know whether he got kneed in the backside or what, but
it's a good call by the official. Ball was hanging on the rim.
Derek Favors, it was coming out. I want to see a picture of Donovan Mitchell. Again, there's an opportunity, Kesty. They scored against the zone and then missed a shot at the rim and compounded it with the foul, or the offensive interference.
There's Leonard, foul, and 1 off balance. And you're right, PJ. Donovan Mitchell not on the floor. A limp as he heads back to the locker room with 6:56 to go in the 4th quarter.
Pronounced slip. I'm not going to speculate what it was, but I could see the way he came out of that. He was headed right to that corner toward the Utah bench and the alleyway that leads into the visitors' locker room at Vivint.
It was a three-point play completed by Kawhi Leonard. 14-point Clipper lead. Dwayne Wade sitting courtside with the mask on. Of course, a part owner now of the Utah Jazz. And really been mentoring Donovan Mitchell a lot. Just watched him limp off. Here's Clarkson, receives the pass, a long three, bricks it off the back iron, Favors offensive rebound, but they turn it over again as he passed to the wing too high for Bogdanovich.
Wow, he threw it over Bogdanovich's head. He did well to get a hand on the ball. Derek Favors working hard, but that's two big mistakes right there. They're showing the replay. Not look like contact. Looked like he just came down on his left leg. I don't want to speculate what the injury was, but there seemed to be very little contact to Donovan Mitchell.
Little contact, and we didn't really see him grab at anything either. He just hopped. We're getting another replay look as Mitchell, remember we said head of steam, legs spread as he went up in the air, and when he comes down, the shot we're getting now, we don't see the lower torso. They're showing us the Favors basket interference, but good news is Mitchell's back out in the bench area.
Lacing up.
Foul on Jordan Clarkson will put Paul George at the line with 6:32 to go. So that's a good sign. With Mitchell lacing it up in the athletic trader, making sure that he's okay before he checks himself back in.
Yeah, Eric Waters is talking to him. They're certainly not going to let him back in unless he's okay. I should correct myself. Nasty is Paul George misses the second. I think he went to Vivint Arena. That would have been a long walk from Staples.
They are watching inside of Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City tonight. 110-95 Clippers, 6:20 to go. Bogdanovich backing down Kennard, hand in his face, shot not there. Kawhi rebounds.
Not Boyan's night. 2 for 9.
In the front court, Kawhi Leonard will direct traffic between the circles. He's got Luke Kennard setting a high screen. Clarkson switches on to Kawhi momentarily. Now backs off. Kawhi's open for three, and he buries it with 6 minutes to go. 113-95 Clipper lead.
Quinn Snyder's there. Donovan Mitchell's got his arm over his shoulder. They're having an animated conversation. I think Quinn might be saying something like, I don't know, maybe we stay and fight another day. If he's not 100%, it might not be good to put him on the floor.
Clarkson drives, whips it into the corner. Bogdanovich missed a three, rebounded by Kawhi Leonard. And with every missed opportunity and the clock running, I think you're right. You try to talk Mitchell into coming back in.
Yeah, I think Quinn.
Here's Batum, three. Good! 5:22 to go. Clippers got it going here in the second half. They bumped it up to a 116-95 lead. Biggest lead of Game 3, up 21 points. Driving is Ingles into the lane, finds a wide open Royce O'Neal, and he hits a triple from the left. 5 minutes to go, Clippers 116, Jazz 98. Rudy Gobert looking to check back into the game. We got a whistle here. Looks like somebody called a timeout.
Lou wanted a timeout, and James Williams was telling him, I didn't hear you. You know, Lou's got walking out on the floor, and everybody's kind of wondering, what are you doing? He wanted a timeout, but none of the officials heard him. So a little bit of confusion there, no harm done.
Donovan Mitchell's holding on to his warm-up jersey. Doesn't have it on yet, but we have a timeout here with 4:56 to go in the game, and the Clippers own an 18-point lead, 116-98 over the Jazz. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
And now a game of commercial chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Okay, so, did you see that game the other day? The refs, right? I mean, come on. They were totally out to get us. That always happens to our team. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Which are you more willing to pay? The commitment to prepare your workforce for the future, or the cost of inaction? It's a question you can't afford to ignore. Introducing ProEdge, a PwC product. It's the revolutionary way to upskill your people and prepare your organization for tomorrow. Proactively own your digital transformation with your existing workforce. Prepare your workforce for tomorrow. Visit proedge.pwc.com/podcast to learn about upskilling, citizen-led innovation, and the workforce of the future.
The NBA playoffs continue. After dropping both games in Brooklyn, Giannis and the Bucks respond with a critical win at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Game 4, the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, presented by Indeed.
Hey, it's Greeny, and it's a huge weekend for the NBA playoffs. We'll be back on Monday recapping all that happened and how close one team is to an NBA championship. See you then. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
The Nets won every quarter. They won the fourth quarter, which they started with a 30-point lead. They won a playoff game last night by 39 points, and it was not as close as the final score would indicate. That game was much more one-sided than the 39-point final decision would have made you think. A team that more publicly and flagrantly than any other fully dismissed the regular season as not being worth their time has genuinely flipped the switch, just as we feared they would. They're just too good for everybody else. I really don't know what more to say about Brooklyn 125, Milwaukee 86. Every single person involved with the Bucks should be ashamed.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Kevin Winter with you inside our Granger Studios. I want to thank all of you who logged on to our Twitter account at NBA on ESPN Radio to vote in the AutoZone to get in the zone poll question. 68% of you said the duo of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert would be in the zone and get in the zone more so than Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You're wrong. But we thank you anyway. We appreciate your efforts. Let's set our schedule for the rest of the weekend. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, tomorrow, Game 4, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Nets are up 2-1. Monday, Game 4, back in the ATL, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sixers lead the Hawks 2-1. We're also going to have Game 5 on Tuesday between the Nets and the Bucks. We have no idea what time it is. We have no idea what the series will stand. Welcome to the playoffs.
Kev, we're not sure exactly when the conference finals will start either. Could be moves up, could move ups, could start on time. And, of course, we'll have it all for you here on ESPN Radio right through the NBA Finals.
I was anxious to look at what players were coming out for Utah. But Snyder, I think, feels it's a little early to white flag it because he's got 4 of his starters still on the floor. Most of the Clipper starters also on, 3 of the Clipper starters on the floor.
Including Kawhi Leonard, who's the ball handler here. 5 to shoot, 4:40 to go. Now he drives on Gobert. Lefties it up and in. Big second half for Kawhi Leonard, who's got 32 points.
Wow, that's a 20-point deficit right now. How did they do that? 55% from the field, 55% from the three-point line, and they turned 14 Utah turnovers into 24 points, making 15 Utah turnovers. So that's a pretty good combination. 55 from the field into 3 and force 15 turnovers, and they're about to add to points off turnovers.
And they really played good defense here tonight. And Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, it's, as you said, a 5-out offense. It has been very tough for him on the
Ty Lue was really good. The small team was good. When he needed to, he went back big. He sprinkled in a couple of possessions of 2-3 zone. It's basically take out that 8-0 run, which was, in about a minute and a half to start the game. Ever since then, it's been all Clipper.
4:10 to go in the game. Clippers with the 20-point lead. Leonard stops, free throw line, finds Batum, right wing 3 off the back iron. High rebound. Gobert grabs it for the Jazz. Up ahead, Clarkson. He'll trigger a 3. Missed it short. Rebound knocked her out, and Clarkson just booted it out of bounds to Los Angeles.
Looking for some subs coming in shortly from the Utah bench.
Well, you heard PJ's wrap-up of tonight's game. That was our instant analysis brought to you by Credit Karma. Visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and start winning. Instant Karma. Progress starts here. Clippers down 2-0 for the second straight series. Going to win Game 3 for the second straight series as Leonard pulls from the free throw line, hits another. 34 for the Claw.
That small lineup has been good, and Terrence Mann and Luke Kennard have both been rewarded. They're getting pretty good extended minutes for Ty Lue.
There's a no-look pass down the lane and an offensive foul as Royce O'Neal didn't even hit Gobert. He physically hit Terrence Mann, who took the charge under the basket.
Turnovers mounting now. They're going to be a little deceptive. They didn't lose the game just because of the turnovers, but the turnovers prevented them in the third quarter from getting back in the game.
And here comes your white flag moment as both coaches will unload the bench. If you're just joining us, Donovan Mitchell came down with a bit of a leg injury and hobbled to the locker room, tried to come back and talk his way back into the lineup, but obviously is done for the evening, and we'll have to wait and see. We have a timeout on the floor called by the Clippers here. Remember, they're already without Mike Conley.
Remember also, there'll be a multi-sided conversation as there was in Game 1 of the previous series between Donovan Mitchell's trainers and medical people and advisors and team trainers, advisors, and medical people. There'll be a confab deciding whether Donovan comes. When he comes back.
I haven't seen this before. The trainer is on a cell phone on the bench area, probably, speaking with another medical professional, getting real-time data.
The modern NBA, it's not just, in the old days, it was the team trainer, maybe a team doctor, a coach, and the player. That was it. No more. At least not for the elite players. The elite players have their own trainers, their own medical people. They work in conjunction with the team's trainers and medical people. And there's a lot more people in warm-ups or street clothes getting on the team charters nowadays than there was when I first started coaching in the NBA.
So the trainer wrapped ankles,
booked rooms,
did
everything.
Did per diem, right, as well? And kept track of timeouts.
Absolutely. The trainer still keeps track of timeouts, but decisions now are made on many, many different levels. Mike Conley, ironically, want to know if you're a Utah fan and want to be concerned, you see Mike Conley in street clothes, Donovan Mitchell in his warm-up with a towel around him, and sure they're not talking about the weather in Los Angeles.
As Luke Kennard misses on a three. I hope you got your rosters handy here. As we have Trent Forrest for the Utah Jazz, one of their two-way players.
Ersan
Ilyasova, you know that name. He missed the three, the long rebound. Terrence Mann has it for the Clippers.
One of my favorite names in the league and one of my favorite players. Ersan Ilyasova is a good player.
Been around a long time, and one opportunity for Patrick Beverly. He flexes the left arm, and we'll head to the free throw line with 2:48 to go. Clippers 122, the Utah Jazz 98. And before the free throw, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed. Mark Kestisher, PJ Carlissimo with you. Free throw good. Three-point play, Patrick Beverly. Clippers 123, Jazz 98, 2:40 left.
Misty, I'm sure you're anxious to show your homework because you recognize everybody and know all these players on site. But seeing Mike Conley talking to a very animated conversation with Donovan Mitchell, and they are talking about what works, what doesn't work on the floor, what's going on in the game. Injuries have been way, way too big a factor in all these series.
Absolutely.
It only seems like it's going to get worse, not better.
Yogi Ferrell hits a baseline jumper, the former Indiana Hoosier, and it feels like whoever stays the healthiest was going to win the championship.
I mean, you never won. When I was lucky enough to be sitting on that bench in San Antonio, it was normally because we had a healthy lineup the whole time, or at least the key players. You basically cannot mention a team now in the playoffs that doesn't have a player out, either out for the series or out with no chance of coming back in the playoffs. And then you got guys like Mike Conley that you don't know when they're coming back, James Harden, Jeff Green. I mean, pick a team. There are players to talk about. Dante DiVincenzo, Sean Kelly night tomorrow at Milwaukee. And Brooklyn, you don't have to work very hard to come up with names for every team.
That's right.
It's a little concerning. I should say it's a lot concerning.
Ersan Ilyasova has two free throws for the Jazz. 125-100. Clippers lead. We're going under 2 minutes to go. Utah and Phoenix have been the healthiest teams all year. No reason to say why they weren't number 1 and 2 in the Western Conference, as Amir Coffey misses a 3 for the Clippers, rebounded by Daniel Oturo, out to Farrell here with a minute 45 to go.
It wasn't that long ago we were watching together.
Pass to Mann in the corner for 3. Buries hit Terrence Mann. Turns to the Clipper bench and the crowd. 28-point lead for the Clippers.
He's played well. When we were watching Chris Paul, it looked like he couldn't even lift his arm up the first game after he got hurt. And you're wondering whether Phoenix's whole chance to win, to compete for a championship, was going up in smoke. Now Chris Paul looks like he wasn't injured at all. It's amazing the way he's playing. But, I mean, it is that fragile with these teams. I mentioned Utah right now. Mike Conley on the bench, Donovan Mitchell hopefully is going to be okay. But there are very few teams that aren't an injury away from dramatically altered chances to win.
106 to go here in Game 3. Clippers in command, 128 to 102 on the Jazz. Yeah, Chris Paul gets injured. They're down 2-1 to the Lakers. And Chris Paul, it looks like he's 100%.
Like he couldn't lift his arm up.
They've won 6 in a row now, and a chance to sweep out Denver tomorrow night.
CP playing as well as he's always played.
How about the Phoenix Suns? Was it 19 wins 2 years ago? And now on the doorstep of a trip to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, if I was more intelligent, you could have seen it coming. Those 8 wins in a row to finish the bubble. They were playing very, very well. We see trainer Eric Waters working on Donovan's his right ankle.
His right ankle foot iced up. They're wrapping up the ice bag as he sits courtside at Staples Center.
Well, Phoenix was improving dramatically anyhow. Monty Williams has done a fantastic job. But what an addition and what an impact Chris Paul has had on that team. That young team teaching them the way, how to compete, how to defend, how to win, and now how to win in the playoffs.
The young team was coming of age in the bubble, had a great experience for 8 games, won them all. Picked up Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton's made the next step. It's 37 seconds to go here. There's Oturo, the rookie for the Clippers, hitting 132 to 104 over Utah.
And just to put Phoenix to bed, the relationship Monty Williams already had with Chris Paul, having coached him before, has been a major factor in that development of that team.
24 seconds to go here at Staples Center, and Forrest puts it up and in for the Jazz. We will have Game 4 between Brooklyn and Milwaukee tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. on the West Coast for coverage. Sean Kelly, PJ Carlissimo will have the call. Final seconds are ticking off at Staples Center. 2 straight series, the Clippers have fallen behind 2 games to none. They answer the bell in Game 3. The horn sounds. We'll wait and find